So let's kick us off by, I just want to say congratulations, Anisha. This
Thank
is
you.
a very big moment.
Thank you.
So many people in the world try to write a book, and so many few ever complete it. And of those that complete it, so few ever find a way to get it to market. And most people give up way before this point that you have reached today. So I'm so excited that maybe we can discuss a little bit your journey, how you got here, a little bit about the book. And we should definitely, by the way, folks have the book, hold them up, and I'll take a screenshot for Anisha later if you have the book. Hold it up. Look at that. How awesome.
Oh, that's so nice. Thank you.
Yay.
I've been getting texts from people with like pictures. Look what showed up. Look what showed up. So it's always fun.
Have fun.
Yay. Yeah.
So let's ask you some questions, Anisha, about the book. I'm so excited. Let's start with, where on earth did your inspiration for this book? It's so witty, it's funny, it's, oh my god, I laugh my way through it. But like, where did your inspiration for the whole idea come from to start with?
This is actually, and a lot of my family is watching, and they're going to come and just sit on my heads later. But I'm going to share this. It's the first chapter is basically just inspired, very loosely inspired. Let me just add that by an incident that happened when I was 22, and one of my aunties, because I have lots of aunties, I remember it was like a Sunday. She just got off the rickshaw and she was like in a rush, and we thought something had happened, and she walked into the room and she was just like looking at my parents, and she was like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing about her? Are you not getting her married? I was 22 and I was sitting there, and it was so funny, but I couldn't say it because it was a serious topic. So but that's always stayed in my head, and that formed like the basis of chapter 1. But Zoya is nothing like me. Sheila Bua is nothing like my aunt. So just throwing it out there.
How much does a book like this change as you're editing it? What did this look like? What did the editing process from the beginning to the end look like?
So this is the first piece of long fiction I have ever written. I have not written any articles, any, in newspapers or any blogs or anything of that sort. And I woke up very naively one day and decided, okay, I'm going to write a book. Apparently it doesn't work that way. So yes, lots of changes. The book was a little edgier to start with, and all of that got smoothed down as I edited. I think lots of them. I think I didn't come into this with any MFA degree or any kind of like a writing class or anything. So it just got added on in layers. And then my agent helped me edit it some more. And then the editor at the publishing house, Alcove Press, edited it even more. So lots of it, just so that you guys know.
And is it the same in the two versions? Because your book, I'll see if I can put the covers on screen. It has two covers and two titles. Do you have them both there? Actually, even better,
I
hold them up
do.
if you've got them.
I do. I have both of them here. Can you see them?
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. So is it the same? Are both books identical in the language, or did one of them get like Anglified, or
No, no.
are they the same?
It's exactly the same, except the English one, the UK one has different spellings because the American spellings are strange sometimes. And I always think that, I can always picture like a teacher just with a big red cross mark when I write the American spellings. So I think it's just the spelling changes. Otherwise, it's the same.
And talk to me about the food in the book, because this book, I love that Zoya thinks about food all the time, all the way through the book. But like, there's so much great food in this book. I was Googling stuff like, what is that? I've never had that. Like, I've never been to Mumbai. So I was like, wait, what is that? She's eating it. Sounds amazing. So how did you deal with all of the food? Did it just come naturally? Like, talk to me about all the food.
It did sort of. I'm a big foodie. So food is just, I think I live for it, and all my family knows it. But like giving her that character, and because she's overweight, there is also the food factor that comes in. It's stress eating. It's that emotional comfort that she has, and it just gave me a chance to put in all of the lovely favorites that I enjoy in there. And there's like chicken biryani in it, which is like my absolute favorite. So I was like, yes, I need to give her chicken biryani to eat because I just want to write about it.
I love it. I love it. And one of the things people have talked about the reviews, and Kathleen actually wrote a review commenting on this, like the characters are fabulous. Like, you have such great characters. And like all your reviews are saying how well people relate to the characters. So I'm going to ask you the loaded question because you've got your family on here and this can embarrass you. Is anyone based on a family member? Like, is there a Shilabua in your family?
No, yes and no, because it's like she's sort of like an amalgamation of all the aunties that surround you while growing up in India, and there's no dearth of them. I have five aunts on my dad's side. He has five sisters and one sister-in-law, so I have six aunties on one side, and another five on my mother's side. So 11 aunties just in the family, and that is not counting extended family or friends' moms. So you can see where all of this is coming from. It's not just one person, all of them.
And I love there's a scene in the book, I'm not giving anything away, where the aunties descend on her at a wedding to basically like marry her off next, like to make sure she's in track next to get married. And I love that because it was so universal. Like in one hand, it was so Mumbai, and I'm there and I'm seeing the outfits in my head, and it was fabulous. But on the other hand, the idea of like your family knows what's best for you and they're going to push you into things, and sometimes there's like a squad of them coming at you. It's such a universal thing. I felt like you really captured like the universality of her situation, which was wonderful.
Thank you, thank you. That's what kind of happens when you go to like these big Asian, South Asian family events or weddings. Everyone's just like, oh, we haven't seen you in years. You know, you become so fat, or you become so thin, or you know, you become so tall. How can you grow tall? I don't know, but all of these things. So I just wanted to bring the noise that is a South Asian family, and for me, the city sort of works as additional noise, which never stops, which is, you know, there's never a dearth of comments in families, and when you go at weddings, and then the city adds like another level of sort of metaphorical sound.
Yes. And there's so much great social commentary in this book. And it's like, I have to write my review, but it's snarky and it's witty. And I love when a book like delivers deep topics, but makes you kind of take them easily because it's so snarky and funny. But I mean, you're dealing with like arranged marriage, career versus family expectations, body language or body image issues, and body language. I love how she talks to herself about her body. Like her
Right.
internal monologue is fabulous. So like, how do you get all that in the mix and like manage all of that in one book? Like, any tips for the rest of us?
Oh my goodness. It developed in layers. At first, I think it was very um, you know, so not softer, but just like one layered. And then each edit ended up adding layers. And there's like it's almost kind of like, you know, what your end is going to be. So you sort of foreshadow it in the beginning. You write backwards, which is a little bit like cheating, but that's kind of how you do it. And I just wanted it to be relatable and not depressing and heavy, because all of these topics are you know, there's so much of narrative going on around these kind of topics about weight, about skin, and all of that stuff, but I just wanted to take it from like an internal sort of irreverent narrative, so that you see what she thinks about all of these things, because she can't say these things out loud.
And has there been any feedback? Like you've already got some wonderful reviews out there. Has there been any feedback that's already affected you or surprised you from what you've heard, either from family or from reviews?
There was one who this was a very recent one, and she says I was laughing throughout, and she just says, I think Anisha was a stand-up comedian in a former life, which is not true.
That's
So
awesome. That's
I'm
awesome.
glad she finds it funny. People love the food, and I think they're liking the fact that it's set in Mumbai and it just brings it alive. I've heard that a lot.
So I would love for you to read a part for us. Like, is there a piece you could read?
Sure, sure. I have it right here. I have it marked, and this is my husband's copy. And he was like really upset. Why are you putting stickers in my copy? And it is chapter 4, where someone comes to see her. All of the Indian ladies, South Asian people know what a boy coming to see you is. So I'm just going to read this. I'm going to be quick, I promise. Uh, Mum walks in with the props for girl viewing, a large, freshly polished silver tray filled with our best china set from England, which was a wedding present for my grandparents, inherited by my parents at their wedding, and waiting in hope for mine. The porcelain plates are filled with hot samosas, cream biscuits, malai pedas, small heavenly blobs of sugar and cream and flour. and 6 cups of fragrant, steamy chai. Maybe I could sneak in one peda, maybe not, in case I burst out of this dress in my underwear, much like a paunchy gone to see Superman. But I'm so hungry. Of course, the tray has to be silver. We must show off our wealth in front of the Sharmas to indicate that we can manage the entire expense of the wedding. In a subtle way, of course, not to appear too vulgar or imply that we're richer than the boy's family. What's more subtle than shiny silver for mundane household items? Good thing your promotion came in today. How much extra money will you get? Sheila Bua gets straight to the point. I have no idea, I say. I mean, I only just found out. How unprofessional would it have been just to flat out talk money? All the details will be shared later, I say. Maybe 15% more, I don't know. A fat salary totally offsets being fat. Oh, I didn't mean that. Sheila Bua gasps, pretending to cover her mouth. I mean, fuller in body and the dark skin, and I already called the Sharmas and told them about the raise. I have such a good feeling about today. She sighs in pleasure as Mum tries to thrust the heavy silver tray into my hands. I can't carry that heavy tray. I can barely move in my dress. Why can't you have Mala carry it? What if the boy ends up liking her? How will you live that down, a boy choosing a maid over you? Whispers Sheila Bua as Mum opens my bedroom door. Mala, a cook, is 45 years old and married with 3 grown children. It's an old tradition, beta. That's what we do. We can't just have you walk in there and say, Here, what do you think of her? Can you please not fight me on everything? Mum half pleads, half orders. It's crap. We might as well go back 100 years and veil my face with this dupatta. The red chiffon wrap, which is supposed to go around the front of your neck or dangle down on one shoulder, has now entangled itself near my posterior like a long tail. Just do it this once. You won't have to do it again, she coaxes. Well, come on, let's go. What are we waiting for? Done? Hopefully that was not too long and people didn't get bored.
Well, I love that it gave a sense of like the wittiness of this book. It is so witty, and if I was in the UK, I would call it snarky and sarcastic. It's so good.
It is in a bit. It is. It's called satirical. So that's not a word that I used. So I've been using it everywhere. It's stolen from a reviewer.
Satirical. Kathleen, I know you had thought of some questions you had.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, first of all, that like to go back to the characters. So what I loved about Zoya is that she's just so adorably clueless. She's so good at her job and she's so competent and she's so clueless about her own life that it's adorable. I'm like, don't you see? Don't you see? And like the reader knows everything long before she does, which is kind of fun, but it just makes you really root for her.
And she was more ditzy when I started writing it, and I kept getting feedback that don't make the reader scream. Like, I can see it. Can you not see it?
Well, but in some ways it's kind of fun because I don't want to give spoilers, but she has like a secret admirer, like that during this process that they're trying to force her in one direction, and she's sort of stumbling her way into her own happily ever after. But she doesn't see it, and the reader can. It's not like it's a big surprise, and you're just like, whoa, you are really missing the cues. And so I'm just so rooting for her through this whole thing because her secret admirer is absolutely fabulous. I'm just going to leave it at that.
And I didn't want to put it in there. That whole angle was just so organic. It made me really mad because it was not supposed to be in there. And
everybody likes a romance. Yeah. But I love that her characters, and you talked when we talked before about I don't know if you want to talk about the her intended, and there's one particular character that you didn't necessarily want to like, and so how did you deal with that?
So her character, one of the characters in the book, by the name of Lalit, I just could not write him well. And in all of the drafts that we had, a couple of my writer friends, and they're like, he needs to come out. And I'm just like, he's not. I'm not able to write him as a real person. And one of my very astute writer friends, and I hope she's on here because she was having some issues logging on, she told me, I cannot write him because I do not like him, which was like shocking. It's like being told you don't like one of your children. Oh my goodness. I hope my daughter didn't hear that. I like both of them. It's okay. So, but then when she said that, it was, and then that's when I realized when I write a character, I have to be sympathetic to them. Um, Even if it's a bad character, there has to be something that the character has for me to write it. So I had to give him some, emotional stuff, something that he was struggling with as well, which is when, I was able to write him a little better. I'm still not satisfied with how I've written him, but hopefully in book two.
Well, all of your characters are um, larger than life in different ways, and I think one of the things that I struggle with as a writer is having many characters. Like, we tend to only have one or two children in a family in a book, for instance, because how on earth do you write? I'm really looking forward to a book that's coming out now that's got like 5 or 6 children in it, and they all have point of view, because I think that's so difficult to do. And that's something that you've done so well in here. I just can't say enough about the characters. They're all so vivid. And just when you think that one of them is a stereotype or a caricature, they turn out to have another entire layer beneath them. And I think that is, I really love that in a book, because it's really like real life. We see someone, we make a first impression, and we think that we're done, we know everything there is to know, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's this whole other thing, and now we understand why that person acts the way they do, and suddenly it makes you see them in a whole new light, and you can't be angry with them anymore.
Right.
Or it's hard. And I think that's just so, I love it when books do that, because it's so true to life. So kudos to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And that's something that it reflects just real life, like you said. Everybody has a reason for what they do, whether it's good or bad. And that's something that, you learn as you grow older. There are some people who learn it when they're younger, but then everything has to have a reason. And there was, I don't know if it was Ernest Hemingway or another writer who said that any character that you write, make them want something, even if it's just a glass of water. Everybody has to want something or the other. And I've tried to have the theme of how you are struggling with your own mind. I've tried to put that theme on each and every character. Each of them is struggling with what they want versus what they are made to want. So hopefully, that I don't know why that theme, I think in my second book too, that theme is sort of showing itself. So
What blows my mind is this is your first book. There is just something totally unfair about that. This is amazing that this is your first book that you've written. And someone asked over here in the comments a same question I was wondering, which was, how long did it take to write it?
The querying process
Okay.
was, I think, about 6-8 months, and
which is not very long.
Which isn't, but it was like a pit of despair, as every writer here knows. It's like it's like the torture from hell for pretty much everybody. It's and I also participated in the WFWA pitch contest, and that is like Women's Fiction Writers Association. And I had like 3 offers from that pitch for representation. But then I also had another one who's my current agent, who literally just picked me out of the query pile and worked with me on this book for I don't know, like 3 edits, so probably like almost a year. And then we went into submission. So I didn't realize how lucky I was till I read everybody else's story, and they've been working on 3 books, and this is the 3rd book, and that's the debut. And here I was cribbing about, oh, it's taking so long to find an agent. I really, really need to shut up.
Take a step back and just bask in the moment that you did what all of us dream of. You sold your first book. That's amazing. Go you.
Thank you. I'm lucky. I'm very, very lucky. So thank you.
And I see another question in here on signed copies. Where do we get the Anisha signed copies of the book?
If you guys are in San Diego, we might be having a small event with a cafe that's coming up, which is very Mumbai-ish. So hopefully we will have that in August, some sort of a signing promotional event. There's going to be giveaways and fun stuff. So the San Diego people can get it there. And I'm going to be going probably to a couple of bookstores and secretly signing and putting in something special in there. So
And here's another fabulous question. Would you consider writing a season 2 of this book by describing Zoya in today's time?
season 2, I've thought about it, yes, but I don't know. I want to take a break from these characters because I've been writing them for so long. They're inside my head. I need to get them out and go to something else. But I already have a plot line for season 2. When she actually is in New York and fails miserably, I would love to write that. Not, I mean, it fails miserably as in like she just goes there and she has no idea and she thinks she can own the world, but like, hello, no, that's not going to happen. I don't know when I'm going to write that, but it's there.
I'm down. I want to read it. I want to see Zoya in New York. Here's another good question. How do you juggle writing with being a mom and all the other demands in your time? And I think Kellyanna is looking for tips. How do you do it?
um, I don't know. Some days it's insanity, and like I said, some days you are lucky to just escape with your sanity. Um, and some days it works seamlessly. So I don't know what I can tell you, but I have a husband who's very supportive. He actually, took care of two bickering kids on weekend mornings when I used to go out to Panera Bread and write my book when I was also working full time. So he's, I mean, if you have a good partner, that's half the battle won. But if you take some time out of your day just for yourself, lock the room, go into the closet, I don't know what, but that is your time, and no kid can come and tell you, oh look, I blew this balloon, but it's really important for me to show it to you. No, you don't. It's okay, you can show it to me like in 30 minutes. It'll take a while, but you just really 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 have to guard that time. And I guess that's how I'm going to write the second one, and if it works, I'll let you know.
And has hubby read the book?
He wanted to finish it before this event, but he reads like one chapter every night, and he's been like nice and slow. That's just how he reads, and he doesn't read a lot of fiction. He reads more nonfiction. So he's liking it. So and he's not my target audience, so I think it's good.
Anisha, cheers.
Thank you. Everybody has your cup of tea.
Actually, the next part of the agenda is for us all to cheers you. And I think Kathleen was going to share some thoughts.
I've not known Anisha very long. I first met her through reading this book, and I reached out to her just gushing about it and said, please let me do whatever I can to help you because it was wonderful. And so from reading The Rules of Arrangement, or What Are We Doing About Zoya, as it is known in the UK, I know a few things about Anisha. She is all heart, 100%.
Thank you.
She has a rich cultural experience that is sometimes jaw-dropping to this white girl, and at all times fascinating. I loved every minute of it. She has a gift for seeing the absurd and the beautiful in the human spirit, and making you love a character despite, and in some cases because of, their foibles. And that's a real talent. She has a fantastic sense of humor, and she loves food, which, as a woman who married into an Italian family, I really resonate with that. So I loved that. Since getting to know Anisha in real life, or at least in virtual life, I have learned a few more things about her. She is a collector of books. She's up to 300 so far. She is a lover of tea, both the drink and the British tradition of afternoon tea. She's a lover of the color blue and the ocean, which I don't think is a coincidence. And she is a wife, a mother of two, and a cell phone analyst, which means she's really doing the whole works. Finally, she is a beautiful spirit who brings an uplifting, empowering sense of humor and a dazzling array of characters to life on the pages of this book. So, 101 queries, 25 requests, 4 agent offers, and now a book in print. I am so thrilled to be Alcove Sisters with you, Anisha. You are amazing. And tonight is your night. Bask in the moment and enjoy it for a minute or two before you start working on that next novel that we all want to see. Here's to you, Anisha.
Thank you. Thank you
Congratulations.
guys for joining and for being patient.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.